Hello and welcome, my name is Marwa and today I'm going to be interviewing dancer Rosy May. Thank you for coming today, Rosie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We're just going to jump straight into the questions.
Okay.
Something I really appreciate with sort of what you do with activism and sort of weaving that into your dancing, whether that's through social media outlets, things like Black Lives Matter on YouTube, and also in your classes as well. What sort of impact are you trying to make and who are you trying to reach with those words?
I'm trying to... I don't know. I think when I first started it, it wasn't a case of trying to make an impact. It was a very personal thing for me that I had, lots of things going on in my head that I wanted to express. And they were, thoughts about racism, thoughts about discrimination, thoughts about the way Black people and other non-white people are represented in media. And that was just like a very personal thing that I then put out. And people saw it. I think what I first started doing was using only Black musicians in my classes and also giving like a little bit of information, education, or opening a conversation about race, about discrimination. So this was in June 2020. So when, the whole world was on that wagon. And it was well received. And I thought, okay, this is interesting because finally, I didn't really know what I was doing before the lockdown. I was kind of just swimming around, knowing that I wanted to dance. Obviously being mixed heritage was a big part of me. I didn't know how to access that, how to tie them together. And then it was, I think I just made my Black History Month application and you couldn't do anything. So I was like, oh, I guess, I'll make some videos. And then they approved the application. I was like, okay, now I've got to make some videos, talking about Black history. But there's no reason that I can't talk about Black history within dance because dance is the passion, dance is the main focus. So, just tying them together. As for impact, it was very much the after effect. So when people came to me and said, wow, I really liked what you did, I found this really interesting, can you do more of it? It's definitely, the places we live in, the demographic is very white, it's very middle-aged, slightly older, and that's really reflected in my classes and, the people that I know. So it wasn't like I was, had a group full of, Black people and Asian people, and I was like, hey, this is racist because they already know about it, like they're living it. So it was very clear that I wanted to be putting out content that was accessible to the people that needed to know about it because they're not immersed in it.
Of course. I did see a lot of your Facebook posts and stuff, and it was definitely well received. It was something that even outside of perhaps in your circle was talked about, because I know a few people spoke to me about it and stuff and really appreciated the stuff that you were doing and putting out as well. So sometimes you're making an impact, you don't even realise how far it's going.
Yeah.
So on your YouTube channel you also have Our Dance, Our Heritage. Mm-hmm. That I found really interesting as well. It was really well done. I really enjoyed everything about it. I guess was that similar kind of thing to Black Lives Matter? And
so with Our Dance, Our Heritage, that was the one that was allowing me to link Black history and dance together. And coming from a musical theatre background, being, one of the only non-white people in the class, and, being mixed heritage in the dance industry has always been there because I've always been mixed heritage. So there's always been that undercurrent of, you're not right for this role because, it's always for white people, or, you won't get seen for that audition, or, you definitely should do that. And, things were put on me like I have to be good at hip hop and, I should be able to speak patois and, speak with this thick London accent and be ghetto. And I'm like, no, that's not me. That's not me. And also, even if it was me, why are you like trying to push that on me? So
it's kind of like you're black, but according to other people's idea of what that is.
Yeah,
or you're mixed race according to what other people's ideas of what that is.
Yeah, like a really like stereotype. And, just people putting their own ideas onto me, which is, I know, I'm assuming this is something like you might have faced as well. It's that stereotype.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, there is this one specific way that black people, that mixed race people are, and that's how it goes. And obviously, we're so like, I don't know if multifaceted is the right word, but we're so diverse in ourselves. So that was something I wanted to talk about. But also, what I didn't realise was language and how important that was, and the way that we talk about African dance. And it's just African dance as a collective. You go to an African dance workshop. And I was leading these African dance workshops, and I was going to African dance workshops. But then I was like, what's the flip? Oh, European dance workshop. Hang on, what is that? That's not a thing.
No.
That's not a thing. And it was crazy because there's so many tiny like words like that are in our society. And they're just embedded and you don't notice them, and so you start unpicking them. And you unpick them and they're like, oh, that's just a small thing, but it all builds up. So, you know, it's like an identity thing. So I try to then be like, okay, you know, when I'm teaching a certain type of West African dance, even that's broader, like, you know, am I teaching a Guinean dance? You know, what specific culture dance am I teaching? Rather than just broadening it, because we can give European dance styles and dance music the respect to name it and, you know, identify it as what it is. And we can't do it, you know, till the foreign stuff is just foreign. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to go down. So yeah, you've seen it. It was like a 4-part series. The first one's about words and terminology, like I've just explained. The second one was about that kind of that stereotype that black dancers are thrust upon, including myself in that black dancers umbrella. That you know, it's like, you know, you're thrust on stage and it's rolling back to the minstrel show and how you're just being a caricature. And you know, that like dance monkey dance type thing, and that even as watered down as it is, I mean, it's not even watered down, but it's still so prominent in my college experience and in the theatre industry. And unless we identify it, the people that are doing it don't realise that they're doing it, because that's just how things are. And what I mean by that is us as black dancers dancing for other people's enjoyment. We're just there to be that light relief, be a little bit of you know, comedy, a bit of like entertainment, and then we're disregarded again. Because you know, I feel like if you're asked to see, I don't know, like really, really prominent black people, like you find them in the entertainment industry, like it's like Beyonce, those really famous dancers who are black. Because that, you know, that's what we're there for, and we're kind of put on this entertainment pedestal. But when it comes to other stuff, we're not respected. So that kind of balances it up. So you're going, okay, you want us to come and dance for you, but you know, you won't let me come and like be an engineer for you. Like, what's that about? Oh, and you want me to come and dance for you, but you know, only on Windrush Day. You know, I feel like I'm being generous saying that they're giving us opportunities. They're not giving us that many opportunities. The dance industry, the theatre industry.
Yeah, and also there's also like this fine line of sometimes people just do things because they have to. Yeah. So like you hire certain ethnicities because you've got to hire them.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to come across a certain way. And it's a fine line because people are like, oh, well, we're giving you opportunities and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes, but it shouldn't be like that anyway.
I know. It feels like, you know, just giving the opportunity isn't enough. You need to, you know, offer the job and offer the support that comes in it, offer the respect that you give to the other people, and know that you are casting that person because they're a talented person, not because, oh look, we've got a whole white chorus line, we probably need to spice it up a little bit, you know.
And
we don't want to be the spice.
So outside of dance, I work in the energy industry, and it is a predominantly white industry, white, male. That's just generally the demographic. And so I was sort of on the social media kind of looking through, you know, the posts and the images that are coming up. And again, it's normally that demographic, you know, white males. And I'm scrolling through, I think it was their Twitter account, and suddenly I see a picture, extremely diverse picture, and I noticed it straight away. And I was like, oh my God, there's so many, like, there's such a mixed and diverse group here. And then when I looked at the post, it was about inclusivity and diversity training. Yeah. And I was like, of course it was. Of course this was a genuine.
That photo couldn't have been used, you know, just to advertise something completely all we can be is diversity. Yeah. That's what we're just used for.
Yeah. But that was sort of like a moment, and I highlighted it to my colleague, and she was like, I didn't even notice.
No.
And I was
because why would you unless you're living it? Unless someone else is highlighting it to you, why would you notice it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because that's why I'm trying to highlight it and make a fuss. Just make a fuss, and hopefully people will listen. And they are. They are listening. Yeah. But, you know, the more people listen, the more it inspires me to know that it is working and that I can take it further, and I can, you know, be a voice that, you know, it explains how things are, why they are that way, and what we can do to change it, and, you know, try and present actual steps to take to combat what's going on.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. That's really good. With the Our Dancer Heritage, episode 3, you talk about being in a ballet class. Mm-hmm. And actually in that you give some advice for dance teachers and how to make people feel more included, or I guess not other people in that respect anyway. But if we were to take that on the flip side, and you had advice for a little mixed heritage girl or black girl, what would you say to them in that situation?
So the situation of being in a ballet class and being the only one is, I don't know. I try and cast my mind back to when I was 5 or 9 and think about what it was like for me. And I think I was aware of it, but I didn't know that it was an issue. And it's not an issue to be the only one. Like, being the only one is not an issue at all. Yeah. But, you know, having the strength and the confidence to speak up when things aren't right for you. So I know that there were a lot of times where I felt I didn't know I had to speak up, because
it's a lot to ask for someone.
Yeah. Like you're little, and you know the people of power are white people, and they, you know. So I'll give you an example, like about hairstyles or something, and you know the person in charge, their head teacher, is like, yeah, we're all gonna, you know, braid our hair. And she can do it, and everyone else in the class can do it. There's someone with shorter hair, but don't worry, you know, like, they're just going to do it like slightly differently for her. It's going to be really short. And everyone's in this, like, really, really happy, like, yeah, it's absolutely fine. And then, so for that one person to be like, hang on, you know, that's not going to work for me. It's a hard thing to say, that person has got to be the one to go and say, I can't do that, can you help me? And I struggle to do that now. Like, I've had to do it in my career, but it's hard when you haven't got someone to help you, when you've not got someone there. So
in a way, it's more on the dance teachers than anything else, right?
It really is. It's like, I was kind of, I don't know, because my advice to the young person in question would just to be like, speak up, but, you know, sometimes speaking up doesn't do what you want it to do, and you've got we're adults and we've got some idea of, you know, measuring up a situation. Hang on, is speaking up now going to further the situation? Should I be here? Should I, you know, go away and talk about it later? When you're 9, you haven't got that level, you know. But like, fortunately for me, my mum was a really good spokesperson. So every time something happened, I just go and tell my mum. Yeah. And she'd be like, right, now this isn't acceptable. This is what's happening. And so a bit of rubbish advice, go tell your mum. But you know, you know, like what it is, speak to an adult that you trust that can do the negotiating for you, because you shouldn't have to negotiate at 9. So you need someone powerful to be able to negotiate for you. Whether that's a parent or, you know, a relative or just someone that knows. Me, for example, I offer myself up to every child in Norfolk and Suffolk that is like, I don't know what to do, I'm the only one in my dance school. Like, I'll mentor you. Like, just fine, just come to us. We'll look after you.
I mean, that is good advice. Like, you can't expect a child to have to stand up for themselves for something that
they don't even know what's happening.
No.
Like, so many times, like, I think I got asked to like bring a hairbrush to an event, and I was like, oh no, I don't brush my hair. And they're like, oh no, you need to brush your hair. I was like, oh no, I don't. Oh, do you need like an afro comb or something? And I was like, no, I don't. And it wasn't until I think 2 years after that event, I was like, because the person in question came back to me and was like, oh, I'm really sorry, like, I think, you know, that was a microaggression or whatever. And I was like, I didn't even notice at the time. You know, you were just being like funny, like telling me to brush my hair. And I was like, stop telling me to brush my hair. I'm not going to brush it. It's not going to work. And yeah, when you don't know that something is happening that shouldn't be happening, how are you meant to identify it?
I wonder if that has changed a lot nowadays because of social media, because I feel like children and adults have greater access to information, to media, things like, you know, there's information all the time on Instagram and stuff like that. So I wonder if that's already on its way to becoming easier anyway. Yeah,
definitely. I feel like sometimes people are thinking before they speak a little more. And the thing that comes out their mouth isn't always necessarily the right thing. But there has been more consideration in how to go about it. And I don't know, sometimes I feel really positive, but then sometimes I'm like, am I just in an echo chamber of people who think like me and want to, you know, do the right thing, be inclusive, and then I look on someone else's social media and I go, oh no, there's like a lot of people that aren't on our wavelength. So yeah, and then I turn off social media because I'm like, I can't deal with that right now.
No, I agree. Obviously, I post a lot of things on like my Instagram and stuff like that. I do a lot of activism awareness in that respect. And I feel like by now, if people didn't agree with me, they would have unfollowed me anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So there's that thing of like, is it working? Is the message getting out? But then at the same time, even me, I've learned so much. And if I can learn something, then someone else can learn something.
Definitely. And it's accessible because you're just, you know, you're on your phone, you're looking through social media, you're seeing like lovely pictures of people, and then you're being presented with you know, a different opinion and a different way of looking at things. And it's so, for us as the creators, we're like, okay, is it anyone reading this? Do they actually care? Am I just talking to myself? But then, like you said, you know, other people, friends of friends, are looking at the content and not necessarily interacting with it, but it's crossing their brain and it's going in.
Planted a seed.
And that's what we want to do. We just want to plant the seed and, you know, hope things come from that. So,
and even if it's a thing like you post something and it inspires someone in some way, and then they might not agree, but then they go do some research into it and then form their own opinion, then that's so much better than just remaining ignorant.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I feel like the things that we talk about can be quite divisive, and it's very like you're either on this side or you're on this side. And there's people who are in the middle that are like, I don't care. And it's like, you know, research, have an opinion about it, and then, you know, speak about it then. But yeah, I'm really pleased that we get to live where we're living now, that we can access this through social media, because I don't know what I'd have done previously, like stood on the street leafleting.
Well, I mean, yeah, we used to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. We can access information, but also we can spread awareness at the same time, which is also good in itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on and just talk about your latest project.
Yes.
Which, from what I've seen, is quite a big project.
Yeah.
So could you please summarise it for me in one sentence?
Okay, so The Island is a dance-led narrative which explores different Caribbean cultures, dances and music, and travels from West Africa through the Caribbean and ends in London via Windrush and ends at Notting Hill Carnival. That was a long sentence, but I got it all in.
You got it in. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper. I guess the first thing is, what was the inspiration for this? Like, why did this come up for you?
So I think, so I came up for it in 2019. I graduated college in 2018. And I think I'd just been, so my dancer, who's in the show, Anna Madeka, she'd been on tour with her one-woman show, and I was her stage manager. So I was watching that every night, and she was telling her story, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. But I wasn't like fully clicked onto that. I was just thinking, oh yeah, I want to make a show. Like, I've not performed in a while. No one's asking me to perform for them. Rude. So, I'm just gonna make something up. So I was like, I'm gonna do a variety show. You get all my friends involved, and I hadn't met you yet, but if I'd met you, you'd be in the variety show. And some friend was going to play guitar, some people were going to sing, I was going to do a dance, my dad was going to dance with me, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I told Anna about it, she was like, oh yeah, that sounds good, why don't you come up with a theme? And like, you could like apply to Norfolk Black History Month and they'll fund it for you. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll think of a theme. I was talking to my friend Holly, and so this actual texting interaction is on my Instagram, because word for word, in like 5 sentences, 5 messages, did we come up with The Island. And I was like, I'm looking for a theme. And she's like, okay, why don't you do Caribbean music and dance through the years, through the ages or something. And I was like, well, I said, I don't know, I swore because I was excited. So I didn't know I wasn't just going to start swearing on your channel. I was very excited by that idea. And I was like, oh, but, like, I'm not cool enough to do that. And she's like, yeah, you are. And I was like, okay. I need people to be in it. When we're going to find people, obviously all my friends are artists, it's fine. Like, I know a lot of people, but it was like, okay. So then I went and spoke to my other friend, Sarah, and she was like, oh, you could just like apply for an Arts Council grant. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. Oh my God, it took me like 3 months to write the application. I was so stressed. And I didn't know what I was doing. Basically, a lot of what's going to come out of my mouth now is just essentially, I don't know what I'm doing the whole time. I've got like mad imposter syndrome. I've got a film, but like imposter syndrome is real. So yeah, I made an application and then they approved it. And it was just, for me to create a show about Caribbean dance. Like, I didn't have to give them a script. I was just like, here's my idea. And loads of information about the budget. Oh my God, that would take like most of the time. And, speaking, I want to use Anna Madeka, I want to use Mahali, I want to use Holly, like give their bios, like, really sell why we're good enough for you to give us the money. And then they gave it to me and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
So they just kind of apply for something. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but maybe this will work. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
And then people kept telling me, yeah, no, you're going to get rejected your first time. So I did it early enough so that I could change my application, apply again. And then they just said, yeah, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started writing a script. And it was me and my partner who we embellished his skills on our application. He just did like A-level English or something. And I was like, yeah, he's writing the script with me. So I wanted to just perform and I wanted to choreograph and I wanted to create because I just had this burning desire to do something. And I felt like no one was sitting down waiting for me to do it. No one was like, "Hey Rosie, do you want to do this?" So I was like, "Okay."
You have to forge your own path.
I'll just do it. I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know that you could just say that you want to do something and then do it, because here we are. So yeah, and I'm Jamaican heritage, so it's not autobiographical at all. It's me and Anna in various beautiful costumes, going from island to island, doing traditional dances and having a great time, pretty much. And there's a very loose, there's not even a storyline because we don't play the same characters all the way through. So it's just, you watch a snippet of Guadeloupe in the 1400s, then you watch a snippet of Cuba in the 50s, and then you watch a snippet of London in the 1950s. Oh, yeah, same thing, 1960s. And so it's just like little pockets of just culture, dance, costume, music. A really great time. Probably the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. And I don't know, if you told me it was going to be that stressful, I probably would have done it. Would have changed a lot, but trying to make a film in a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's not the first thing that I'm like buzzing to do that.
It's your first film as well. So first thing that you're doing like it, there's a pandemic happening. You don't know what's left or right.
Because it wasn't meant to be a film. It was just meant to be a show at the garage. Was it at the garage? Yeah, it was at the garage. And a one night thing. People would come, and I said, "Oh yeah, maybe I'll put in some budget so I can get it filmed," because I didn't think that my nana would be able to come and watch it. So I thought, well, I'll film it so she can watch it. So there was like this tiny bit of budget for the film for this show, and then the theatre shut, and I was like, I've got an awful lot of money in my bank account that isn't mine, and I need to do something with it, and I can't. So we made a film instead, which was a crazy thing to do. But we did it. It's here.
So, it's really impressive. It's that kind of thing of, you say you want to do something, then there's a barrier in the way, and then you just kind of jump the barrier or jump the hurdle, as it were.
Yeah.
Or like kind of just realign or redirect yourself. That in itself is extremely impressive. But that shows strength in character and also just in how much you believe in what you're doing. Even though you say you've got imposter syndrome, so perhaps that's belief in yourself.
Yeah,
but belief in what you're doing, is such a big deal as well. In those moments where you had imposter syndrome, how did you deal with that?
I don't cry. I don't know. I feel like, because making a show, I've put on a performance before. Again with Anna, I like working with my friends because I know I can trust them. It's like that cushion. If someone said to me, right, go and make a film, with a load of strangers, it wouldn't have been right, and I wouldn't have been able to do it. I don't think I'd have even been able to make a film. The fact that it was, maybe I could just make a show, or maybe I'll make quite a big show with my friends. Oh, it's not a show, it's a film. It was kind of baby steps. It was a lot easier to deal with. I think I don't know how to say it, because people weren't working for me, but I was the boss.
Yeah, you're managing.
Yeah,
managing the team,
and
right?
I'd never been the boss lady before. So I wasn't just doing it for myself. Like I'd created work, like paid employment for 15 people. And so when I was freaking out about it, it wasn't just a personal thing. It was like, if you freak out about it and just pull out, say I just don't want to do my YouTube channel anymore. Okay, I don't do my YouTube channel anymore. Say I don't want to do this project anymore. There's all those people there in it. So I kind of had to, slap myself a bit and be like, pull yourself together. This isn't about you. You're in this project now. And if it's not working, you've just got to work around it. Luckily, I did have a very supportive network of people. So my mum and my dad and my partner, and we were all living together. So it's like the four of us just lived the islands. They were also, Dad was in the show, Mum did the costumes, and Joe part wrote the script with me, but then he was the runner on the day of filming. So we just were the islands, the four of us together. And yeah, it wouldn't have happened without them being there. Because I don't know if, I mean, maybe, but I don't feel like I'd have been strong enough to have that many pushbacks. Like, okay, now there's a pandemic. Now, okay, here's the thing you can use. Oh no, you can't use that anymore. Oh, now you're filming it. Oh wait, but the funding can't be used to make a film. So many pushbacks. I don't know that I'd have been able to deal with them on my own. Because there's only so many times, you know, so many barriers that can come in front of you until you're like, well, this is just really difficult now. I don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, it was such a personal thing to be able to celebrate my heritage in that way and celebrate my dad's journey from Jamaica to England. So it was like, oh, that sounds super deep, but it was like beyond me. Like it wasn't just me doing it. So
yeah, there's almost too many factors involved for you to back out. You know, you had people relying on you. You had this story that you wanted to tell. You had friends and family that supported you and believed in you as well. And I guess it's that thing where if other people are believing in you so strongly, like why do you not have that belief in yourself,
I know.
right?
It's a bit stupid, really. Like they're really like, they're telling you like, this is so good, this is really good, I'm so proud of you. And then you're sat there crying like, I'm so bad at everything, why would anyone pay to watch me dance?
Yeah.
So, you know, but the more professionals I speak to that are like 40 are like, yeah, imposter syndrome doesn't go away. You just ride it. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't make me feel better, but it doesn't make me feel worse that you're like 40, 20 years into your career and you're still like, oh, I don't actually know if I'm good enough for this job. Because we are. And if you're not, you just fake it.
Make it till you make it.
That's
my number one rule.
Yeah.
Make it till you make it. Yeah. That's really good. It's really insightful as well. And as you said, like when it comes to things like believing in yourself and imposter syndrome, it's your why that matters a lot. Like why are you doing something? Why are you there? What message are you trying to give?
Yeah.
And as you said, like it doesn't matter how old you are, you'll experience imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So the island features a lot of dances from different cultures. Could you please talk me through some of those and perhaps some of the history behind them?
Yeah, so there was I did a lot of research when I was doing this. And first of all, I just Googled like Wikipedia Caribbean dances and there were hundreds. I'd never heard of most of them. And a lot of them didn't have like really clear footage. So, or like, because you know, like if you Google salsa on Wikipedia, it's like, oh, it's, you know, this 2-step 4/4 rhythm that you move your foot backwards and forwards. It doesn't show you how to do the salsa. Like you kind of have to know how to do the salsa in order to understand that's what that means. Yeah. So I didn't know where to go, what dances to pick. I knew I wanted to feature Jamaica in the 1948 when Windrush went from Jamaica to Tilbury Dock. And I wanted to do Cuba and I wanted to do Dominican Republic for bachata and merengue. But, you know, that's only 3 things and I was like, I can't do a show just on 3 things. I need to go other places. So I found, I went to start in West Africa, in Guinea, with a dance called Cuckoo. So that's what my dancer Anna Madeka does. So she, it's one of her routines that she taught me. And it was danced in Guinea, I want to say like we're talking 1400s. It's still dance. Like, I've done it many times. Obviously I'm not in Guinea, but I'm here. So that was pre the transatlantic slave trade. And I really wanted to talk about what happens after. So when we get to Guadeloupe in the show, kind of similar time frame. So we get to see the influence of the West African dance, the West African drumming, the music, and the clothing. So we perform a routine called Gwoka, and it's in the way that it's performed, so the way the piece is put together, the way it looks, the way it sounds is very similar. It's got that strong West African influence. And then we go on to Martinique to a dance called the Belay. So with the Belay, it's danced in a lot of different islands. And that's something like I bring about in the narration that goes alongside it, because there was no, the impression I've got is there's no, migration between the islands. What I mean by that is 4, 5 or 6 different islands all dance the Belay, but there was no communication between them. They just all did this style of dance because it was so derivative from West African culture. So there was West Africa, and they brought the slaves here, and they all took those bits of culture, matched it with indigenous Caribbean influences, music, and that's how it's developed. And then that so we chose it to be represented in Martinique, but obviously we speak about the other countries it features in, and that develops into something called orchestrated beguine, which again is derivative of that ballet movement and music, but it's the first piece in the show that we actually use recorded music for. We're no longer using live percussion because beguine music is something that it is recorded and does exist. So it's got that European, French, it was a French colony. So we have these super long dresses with tiny little heels. We've got 4 underskirts and petticoats on. So we've gone from this really grounded, earthy, barefoot, fabric short skirts, live drumming, West African, Gwoka, Guadeloupe dance to something like we're in little heels. We've got our little cute skirts on. And that costume is the same because it's this fabric called madras, and it's this checked fabric that's a bit like tartan. And so it definitely wasn't like this. This was our creative take on it. So in Gwoka, we have our skirts bunched up, and, we've just got bare legs and we're just dancing. And what was going to happen in the show, that's now a film, is we would just let we'd untie it and our skirts would fall down. We now do that, off camera. We come back on stage in our beautiful dresses. But it shows that element of the dance that went from here to here and picked up this on the way. And it isn't just, completely isolated pieces of dances. There is a connection. And while there isn't a connection from Guinea to Gwoka to dancehall that's done at Notting Hill Carnival, there isn't that move is exactly the same. But there's just this undercurrent of sharing and collecting different cultures. So, it was really interesting for me to see how the European element came into those dances. And as we go further on in the show, it's a lot more modern. So we were very in the 14th, 15th, 16th centuries. And the second half of the show is the 50s and 60s. And we kind of go forward to time and then we come back again because we want to show the progression on each island. So Dominican Republic, for example, we show the merengue, then we show traditional Dominican bachata, and then I show more modern bachata, which actually is what I've learned from you. There's no one else that I've actually learned bachata from. So when you watch the film, you'll be going, oh, I didn't teach her that. But
it's great.
But most of the show is me going, how do you actually do this routine? And I get on YouTube and I'm researching all these different dance styles and just, figuring out how to do them properly and not this pastiche type thing. We get to show a lot of different styles. Dominican Republic is great because we do stuff on our own, but we get to do stuff as a couple for the first time. And the added element is that for 15 months, me and Anna were separated and we couldn't, she's one of my best friends. And we couldn't see each other. And then we eventually had to rehearse, like in March, outdoors. She's got loads of land, where she does a festival. And she has a little stage. So we're rehearsing on her stage, like 5 meters apart, masked. And we were freezing. And then the day of filming, obviously we were allowed to break social distancing. And I think it's in the merengue, is when we come together for the first time. And we hold each other so tight because we just got to be together. And it was really emotional. I feel emotional now because it was just such.
I'm getting emotional.
We were apart for so long, and I hugged her so tightly, and I didn't let her go. And it was just, I'm in a way so glad that things happened in the way that they did happen, because now I've got that footage, and like, whether anyone watches it, I've got this story that I got to create and put on stage and put on film, and it's me and my best friend Anna and my best friend Holly is drumming, and it's just, even for us, it's just nice that we've got that to hold on to.
Yeah, I mean, now that you told me that, I feel like now I'm going to watch it and be even more emotional. I'm emotional just listening to you. But yeah, no, that sounds really lovely. It sounds really nice. And as we were talking about before, like navigating a pandemic and still being able to do this. What I found interesting is the fact that you said that there's certain dances that there's not as much information out there on. Yeah,
I mean, there's a couple of dances that I scrapped from the show. I wanted them in. Now I can't remember what it's called. There's a dance from Bermuda. Well, I can't remember the name. And I'm going to send you a picture, and you can put it in the video or in the comments right here. So I'll try and describe it to you. So it's men that do it. There's no men in the show, so I don't know why I was going down that route anyway. And they have these tall headdresses completely with feathers and tassels. And then they have tassels all the way down the top and trousers. It's mental. And there's just no music anywhere. It's not played on a djembe. It's not played on a drum that my drummer Tom could access. I spoke to him and he was like, do you know anything about this? He was like, nothing. And the gombe. And so you type in gombe music, and there's pastiche. There's like real strong pastiche versions of like, oh yeah, we're doing the gombe. And I'm like, that's not it. Like, this was recorded in the 1950s with like a full band. Like, where's the percussion? And it's a shame because I didn't just want to do salsa, do reggae, do bachata, like the stuff that people know. I want to broaden people's minds, broaden my own mind, broaden my team's mind to stuff that we don't know. But I just couldn't access it at all. And I'm inspired to go forwards and, seek out people that do this type of music and teach that certain dance. I'm probably going to end up in the Caribbean at some point, just trying to research because I want to do the islands again, and I want to expand it and do more. But yeah, it's difficult to choreograph traditional dances that there isn't footage of, or there's limited footage of, where the music isn't always there. So like the stuff that was easy, salsa, mambo, bachata, pachanga was another one. Couldn't get on board with it. I knew about it. I saw some people doing it. I saw some clips, but it wasn't enough that I could be confident enough to put it on stage. I don't want to put some like half effort into it. Like I wanna be strong and confident. I'm like, this is exactly how you do the mambo. Not even that I was a perfectionist, but I don't want to, when you see someone doing salsa and they're not doing salsa, and it's in like a professional capacity because they're not salsa dancers, and I wince. And I don't want people to wince when they're watching the show.
But it's also about respecting the culture, isn't it? It's about seeing something and saying this is it in its true capacity and doing it justice.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
So, yeah, that's really interesting. I'll be really interested if you do go and do a part 2 or go to Jamaica and find out more.
Excuse me, can you fund me to go to Jamaica? But what's interesting, and people like really look at me funny when I say that, so we're going to 1948 Jamaica. So my dad was born in 1952. My auntie's a little bit older than him. So I said, what music were you listening to in 1948? And they said, well, obviously he wasn't born, rock and roll. And I was like, okay, interesting. Because I thought we were going to go to Jamaica and we were going to do reggae. And he was like, yeah, no, rock and roll. And I was like,
What do you do with that?
This is, and I tell people, I'm like, oh yeah, this is my show. We do Gwoka, Begin, rock and roll. And they go, why? Why have you done rock and roll? But that's what they were doing in Jamaica in the time period that I want to demonstrate. That's what my dad was doing. So we did it. And my dad's on stage, and I can't remember the artist, but it's cute. It's cute, like, you know my dad.
Yeah.
And he's in like his little jacket, and he's got a briefcase, and we dance. He's my dad, I'm the daughter, I've got this like little cute pink dress on. And then he comes kisses me on my cheek, and he goes off onto Windrush. And it's just really sweet. And I think it challenges that stereotype that Jamaica's reggae, and that's it. That's all that is. Because then I was thinking, like, what's the costume for that? I'm in this 1950s cute, like, full circle skirt that you would attest to, like, Grease, like the musical Grease and Hairspray and that type of thing. It's like that does happen over there as well. Like, I know we think it's like this dance hall, you know, carnival. That happens too. But I honestly asked my Jamaican family, what's going on? And they were like, this is what's going on. And I was like, oh, cool. We're going to do it then. We're going to do it. And obviously, you know my dad, rock and roll king. So he wasn't meant to be in the show. I was just going to wink at him in the show. And he'd come up on stage and like just do a little bit with me. Can't do that in a film. So he's now in it as, you know, a cameo role. So yeah, that's another
awesome.
Like, you know, heartwarming moment for us.
That's really awesome. No, that's really interesting. That's not something I would have thought of as well.
No.
Like even just like chatting to you now, like it's eye opening. Like I'm learning so much. So
yeah, I mean, I'm still learning so much because some people ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know. So based on this interview, there'll be things that I'll go home and research for the next time someone asks me about the islands. And because there's so much going on, and it's, I don't know, I feel like it's really far removed from us. Black representation in media, small, as we've said, in mainstream media. But even then, when it does get there, it's the Black British experience.
Yeah.
And there isn't that much like genuine African, Caribbean stuff, dance, music like going on, I feel, especially in theatre. So yeah, it's a whole new world.
yes.
The thought was coming in my head. I was like, stop it, and it came out. It happened.
Surprised you didn't sing it.
Yeah, it's whole like new stuff that doesn't get spoken about. So if I get it wrong, this is what I'm anticipating. This is how I get through like my imposter syndrome and stuff. Like if I get it wrong, and someone's like, "You didn't do that right," because this is what I think about every night when I go to bed. Because anxiety.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "You didn't do that right, you disrespect my culture," I'm like, okay, show me. Go do it. Because I've not seen this done in this way in East Anglia.
I think it just it opens up the opportunities as well. Like it's an opportunity to learning, and I think being closed off for that is a hindrance in itself. And yeah, I mean where we are living in East Anglia, we don't really get exposed that much.
No.
And even if the internet is a struggle to navigate with some of the dances, like where do we get the information from?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, if someone's going to come at you with, this isn't right, then that's a perfect opportunity to turn around and say, okay, show me what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, tell me, and then
let's do it again.
Like, come help me. We'll do it together. But right now, I'm like, so someone's got to do it. Someone's got to make that first move. And I felt like I wanted to represent my heritage, and no one was like, putting out cards and calls saying, "Hey, we're doing this Caribbean dance. You want to come by?" It wasn't happening. So I was like, okay, guess I'm doing it then.
Yeah.
And
you're making an opportunity for yourself. You're providing a platform. Yeah. And if that means that then someone else is going to use that platform to educate as well, then great.
Yeah.
Then great. Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it. Because I've just been panicking.
You've got to try and put everything with this positivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything that comes. And don't get me wrong, that people will critique.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's what you get for going online.
Put yourself out there. Yeah, for sure. People will critique. You'll have people that will be unpleasant for no reason, and that's not why you're doing what you're doing. You're not doing it for those people. Like, you're doing it for other people like myself who are really interested to learn more.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people like that. So if anything, like it's a big like appreciation from everyone else that you are putting yourself out there and that you're educating everyone. The dancers that even as a dancer I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Which on some level it's like I want to be better. But then I wouldn't even know where to start.
Exactly.
So you're already providing that. Here's a starting point. Like we were talking about earlier about planting the seeds. Here's things that you can go and look at and go and research. And that gives me the opportunity to be able to do that.
Thanks. Thanks for the confidence boost. I would feel better. But yeah. No, I'm pleased you feel like that. Because obviously, like, what it's like putting yourself out there on the internet, where every person can say what they like, and you want to do it for the people that care, and you want to do that, and it's like, are you going to stop doing what you're doing just because 1 out of 10 people, 1 out of 100 people doesn't like what you're doing because they're just a nasty person, like But yeah, I'm glad I did it. I'm proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself. Yeah. Because you know the struggle it's been to do it. So yeah, I'm just really excited that it's going to be out. I mean, in relation to this video out, I don't know, but like soon, very.
So what
soon.
date is it officially released?
So June 22nd, which is Windrush Day, which is just perfect, and yeah, it's going to be online, and it's going to be strange. I'm probably going to cry the whole time. My mum's going to cry the whole time. And then it will finish, and then we'll wind it back to the beginning and watch it again. And we'll just keep on watching it, and I'll have like 100 views, and they'll just all be from me and my household just watching it. But you don't do it for yourself. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
I'm very excited. Thank you. I'm very excited for the film to come out. If people wanted to find out more about you and your dancing, where could they find you?
So the new YouTube channel is Rosy May Online. I'd like to do it to the camera.
Yes.
So
we'll put stuff up here.
I'll come here. So the new YouTube channel is Rosy May Online. My Instagram and Facebook is Rosy May, without the online on the end. And yeah, also on Twitter, Rosy May Dancer. So, and it's ROSY. That's the spelling of it. They're the 4 places that you can find me. And we have recorded another video that will be releasing on Rosy May Online. I get to teach Mara one of the routines from the show, which is very exciting. And yeah, hopefully we can do some more content together in the future. It's been really fun.
It is. It's been really nice to have you here.
Thank you so much
have
for
a
inviting
conversation.
me. I know, because to be honest, we haven't really had a sit-down conversation. I mean...
Last summer.
Yeah.
I think it was. Okay, one final question. What sort of impact are you looking to have on the world through your dancing?
The impact would be spreading joy, spreading happiness. Yeah, that's literally it. I just love dancing. Lots of people love dancing. Even people that don't love dancing, you know, sometimes you can't help but enjoy it if you enjoy what you're doing and you're spreading that joy and positivity. So yeah.
So that's everything for today. I guess until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay!
Smashed it.
Oh, that was good.
Let's go get. Yeah.